is pertaining to Uber as a transport company in the states where they are not regulated by the framework that governs taxis or private hire or minicabs. In London, they are required to have a private hire operator's licence.
You're quite right. It's more, I mean, from my point of view, it's more that this will make life a little bit better for Uber drivers, which will mean that the costs have to come up if they're going to cover things like minimum wage, sickness pay and holiday pay. And if the costs come up, then the playing field for the black cab drivers gets a little more level. But I agree with you, it's not really champagne and party poppers time.
Well, absolutely. To comment on the private hire sector, I know you had Steve Garlick on earlier to comment on that, but what I will say is that even that, James, is ambiguous, because whether or not, just because Uber are considered a transport company doesn't mean they're actually employment practices, and that comes under employment law. So
and that is why the tribunal that's I think it's being appealed at the moment, isn't it, which has put those positions in place. Is there any prospect of movement on the hailing, on the plying for hire thing? Because you're going to know a lot more about this than I do, but it seems to me what Theo unearthed this morning is evidence of not a deception necessarily, but certainly a confusion about whether the booking for a car goes to the server then the driver, or whether it goes to the driver and then the server. If it's going to the driver and then the server, it's plying for hire, surely.
Well, it's going directly to the driver. It's in breach of the Private Hire Act. And
that looks like what they're doing. That looks like what's coming out now in the wash, doesn't it?
Well, it does ostensibly, but the only way the ECJ judgment will help the cab trade is if Uber try to rely on the fallback position that they are not a transport provider. They're a tech service putting passengers and riders and drivers in contact with each other. But that's yet to be seen because the case is ongoing and the appeal's not being held till April. But from the plying for hire perspective, James, from our union, it's always been the exhibition of the vehicles via the application, and that can be tackled by the Mayor and by Transport for London, and it's being shirked by the Mayor and Transport for London. Now, I have to say, and I'll throw the gauntlet down from the RMT taxi branch to Mayor Khan, that he can say, no doubt, from his press release, this is a wonderful, well-received decision from the ECJ, and London respects it. But what London Mayor, we expect him to do, and TfL, is to abide by the 300 years of practice of the London taxi, which exhibits its availability and plies for hire, and that's a differential in London. And
you're preaching to the choir. No, it isn't, though, is it? Because it went to court and TfL won that case.
No, they didn't, James. They want to meet a case, not applying for hire case.
You're absolutely right. Geez, what am I talking about? This is my position you're describing. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Why am I arguing with you?
Well, please don't argue. Please get my last point in.
Go on, of course you can.
Transport for London have always said that the plying for hire argument should be made in the courts, and it's duty bound on Transport for London as a licensed regulator to take that case to the courts. It's not incumbent on the unions or individual drivers. It's TfL and the Mayor's buck, and they must stop with them, and they must implement that.
Send me a proper email, will you? Because I want to get this all neat and tidy before Sadiq Khan comes in the next time, all right?
I'll send it to you, James. I'll stay on the line and give it to your producer.
Good man, yeah. Good man. James at lbc.co.uk. Make sure Lewis gets that sent across. Make sure you get a copy of it. Next time Sadiq Khan comes in, we'll put it to him directly. 10:45.
LBC and its sister station.